it did promote an environment of shame, body distrust, and a negative relationship with food as well, leaving us to have restrictive eating patterns that led us into restriction cycles, always feeling like you're on a diet. I'll talk more on this in a moment. But so yes, there was no wonder that so many women have a poor relationship with food and their bodies as well. You only have to look at TV programs and the films and the magazines to see why. Like, you remember, you know, open up the magazine and there was like the ring of shame everywhere, like the I forgot what it was called, but it was that red ring, wasn't it, that they put across all the magazines, like when celebrities were wearing a bikini, or you know, even if when they just had children and stuff as well, which is shocking. And they'd be like, oh, look at this body roll, or look at this cellulite, or look at these stretch marks. And it made us feel very shameful around completely normal bodies, making us feel that we weren't allowed to have those things because they were shamed upon. It meant that we weren't beautiful. It made us not feel worthy, I guess, is the main thing there. But and I guess a lot of people say as well, going like, well, why do you look up to celebrities? Why are you wanting to be like them? And it's like, it's not about that. It was about that we're exposed to it in so many different ways and forms. Like, it was on the TV, it was in films, it was like it was in the magazines, like even just walking into a shop and you would see like these covers everywhere. You know, celebrity shame, whatever it may be, like on the front cover, because God forbid someone had put on a little bit of weight. And we weren't allowed to, you know, change our bodies. It feels like our bodies weren't allowed to change. Even after going different chapters, different eras of our lives. Like I said, having babies, or getting getting a bit older where our bodies do change a little bit. And that's absolutely fine. But it's like we weren't allowed to. We weren't allowed to do that. And it's still a little bit of that around even now, I would say. So the research does show that women exposed to this thin ideal, and that's like on the media, even adverts, photos, you know, that kind of societal norm beauty standards that are ridiculous if you ask me. You know, you tend to have a greater dissatisfaction, like, or a more negative view on your body, stronger urges to restrict food and diet, and more desire to like look at your eating, monitor your eating as well. So the research is there to show that, you know, there's no wonder why so many of you struggle, or I did at one point. And it's not even that as well, there's this generational thing as well. And speaking to a lot of women, as I do, it was maybe comments from parents. And at the end of the day, you start to look at like, actually, maybe it's not their fault because that's something that they got to expose to as well, but they don't know any different. They didn't know that you can start questioning and fighting against it, because you have to remember they've probably grown up with very similar things going on as well. But this generational pull, these comments, you know, and people do think it's okay to make comments on your appearance and your weight, and it shouldn't be the first thing that you say to someone, should it really? You know, when and I have a lot of conversations, obviously, and people have say, you know, the first thing that someone said to me was, oh, you look good after I lost weight, but actually it was through stress, or I'd just come out of an illness. And it's like, well, why do we put so much, you know, emphasis on saying someone looks good just because they've lost weight? It's this comments, and again, it goes back to this diet culture and the thin ideal, and making that out that means beautiful. You know, it all kind of ties into each other and all links. So it's really, really interesting for me to like dive into this even more, and being able to share my thoughts and feelings on it. But as mentioned, like as well, like the comments, then we had the media as well. I've already mentioned about the magazines, but even on movies. And a lot of it was joking or done in satire, but it's not, if you're exposed to it so much, yes, it may be a joke, but you start taking those things seriously, if that makes sense. Like, and especially when you're young and impressionable, and a lot of these movies coming out and what you're watching at a young age were making these jokes, or making, you know, references, I guess, to body weight and thinness. So of course it was just kind of ingrained in us. It was coming from all different aspects in all different ways. But yeah, the biggest things as well.